Personnel update, I put that on there because I know I've notified the committee as well as internal staffing, but our Director of Facilities, Chris George, is actually going to be leaving the district at the end of this month to take a similar role in another community. And that's not why Chris isn't here tonight. He had a conflict that's just coincidental, but we certainly, Chris is a great colleague and a good worker, and so we'll certainly miss him. But we also have to put a transition plan in place. And so I'm working on one right now. I think we're going to end up, I know we're going to end up appointing an interim facilities director for the remainder of the year. Kitty and I had a very productive meeting the other day with a potential candidate we're very excited about. And then we will we'll work over the next few months to do a full search for a professional facilities director. I think there's a conversation to be had with the town to see if a joint town and school facilities department makes sense. I'm very interested in the concept. I've actually worked in 2 districts with that model, as is Katie. And, so there's some ups, some pros and cons of any model you put in place, but I think it's a conversation worth having, and it might be the right time to do it given the transition. So kind of stay tuned on that. The challenge is that we're maxed out already, right? And so, a lot of times people talk about consolidations thinking you're going to save money. That's not really the case. I mean, I think what you're doing is putting in a professional, sustainable, long-term solution to a challenge, right? Which is managing all the facilities in town. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be cost savings. In fact, you actually might end up having to increase staffing for example, for that very reason. The town doesn't have anybody officially overseeing their town building. So it's a great conversation, and Mike and I are really, and then finally, high school athletic complex. Who mentioned it? Ellie, I think you mentioned it. The bleachers aren't done, but awesome progress. And so what is done are the visitors bleachers. As of yesterday, I believe afternoon, right? Katie and I were out there yesterday morning, and they were putting the finishing touches on the visitor bleachers, and it's really exciting to see them go vertical. We are primed to begin the home bleachers, at least the erection of the actual steel, right after the holiday break, right after the new year. The press box actually, which is pre-engineered and manufactured off-site, is set to be delivered to the site next week. So you might see a building sort of hanging around the parking lot. That's the press box. So really exciting. So that should be done. That phase of the project should be done, by the end of January. And then the final piece of that is that the design documents for the building, right, which consist of toilet rooms, concessions, electric room, and all the kind of ancillary spaces. The bid documents will be ready for contractors, I believe on December 21st, which I think is Wednesday. And those bids are going to be due January 27th.